So I thought it was about time to do a question video, and I thought what better place to do it than in front of this incredibly bizarre drawing slash painting of a leopard in the hotel I'm staying in. So I asked for questions on Facebook. I asked for them from my coworkers, friends that I knew wouldn't respond via Facebook and everything like that. And I got a couple questions, and I'm going to answer them here. So the first question, and I get this a lot, is how much weight did I lose? And the answer is 110 pounds, and I've stayed pretty steady at 110 pounds for the last 2 months or so, so that feels pretty good. I haven't gone higher. I've gone about 2 pounds higher and about 2 pounds lower, and that seems to be my fluctuation point for now. So we'll see where that settles out to, but I'm very happy with 110 pounds, which segues into the next question, which is, do you plan to lose more? And the answer is no, I do not plan to lose more. I can't say for sure if I'm going to lose more or if I'm going to gain up a little bit. I'm not sure. I'd like to not gain up a little bit, but I don't plan on losing any more weight. Another question I get a lot is, what made you decide to have the surgery? And there wasn't any one deciding factor for me. I'd been thinking about it for a long time, I think a lot longer than most people realize, except for maybe my husband. It's something I'd been thinking about for years, actually, since before even my weight really got to the point where I would have been eligible for the surgery. I was looking into it because I was wondering, am I eligible for it? I do know that just one day I told my husband I'm making an appointment with my doctor and I'm going to talk to him about weight loss surgery, and when I went into my appointment, it was actually my doctor that brought it up. So, that, as I mentioned in one of my first videos, I was kind of hoping, I think part of me was kind of hoping I was going to have to fight him on it. I was going to have to say, no, I really think you should refer me for this, and for him to just go, you know what, you should think about weight loss surgery. It was kind of surprising, but, at the end of the day, it achieved the same goal, so I can't complain too much about it. The one thing that did not affect my decision was living in New York. Contrary to what is apparently popular belief, again, I'd been considering it since long before I moved to the area around New York. And the truth is, yes, of course, New York is a more mobile city, first of all, and a more fashion-conscious city. It more has a reputation for that than actually is. The thing about New York is there is every type of person in New York. Every type of person you can imagine is in New York. So no matter who you are, there will always be somebody who's judging you, and there will always be a whole lot of people who don't give a rat's patoot about you. So that really wasn't any part of my decision. I didn't feel any pressure based on the human beings of New York to do this. I did have some, the one factor about New York that did affect this was it is such a walking city. And, walking up, several flights of stairs to get out of the subway and stuff like that was difficult. It wasn't impossible, it wasn't that uncomfortable, but it certainly wasn't fun, and it certainly wasn't comfortable, and it took a lot more energy than I felt like it should. So that was the one way in which moving to New York affected my decision, but beyond that, if anything, New York made it possible for me to have this surgery, being able to live such a walking lifestyle, being able to have such a variety of foods at my fingertips. I mean, if I want to go out and eat and I have dietary restrictions, anywhere in New York is gonna cater to that. So, another question I get a lot is, why is my skin not saggy? And this boils down to what I think are basically 5 factors, and unfortunately 3 of them are totally outside of most people's control. First one is genetics. I really feel that I just got lucky in that regard. My dad has lost a lot of weight recently, and he certainly doesn't look saggy. He's very unflying squirrel for a guy his age, so I feel like, it makes sense that I wouldn't have had that problem. Second of all is also my age. I'm 32 years old, and I've still got a lot of elastin and collagen in my skin, and that helps shrink everything back down. So the younger somebody is when they have the surgery, the better chance they have of not having skin sagging. And the third is just plain luck, I think. Those are the factors that are outside your control. I think it's just a draw of the cards. However, there are two factors that I do think are within somebody's control that do impact this. And I think number one is exercise, and number two is vitamins. So I take, I'll talk about exercise in a second, but for vitamins I take 2 chewable multivitamins a day, 2 chewable calcium and vitamin D a day, 1 sublingual vitamin B12, as well as 7 1,000 unit tablets of vitamin D, and that's just a personal thing because of my vitamin D deficiency, and those are chewable as well. So in terms of working out, the question I got was, how often do you work out and what kind of workouts do you do? So prior to the mess that has been December and being sick and everything like that, my average was about 4 times a week, and I was doing 2 days of kickboxing at a gym and 2 days of cardio in the fitness center in my building. So cardio in the fitness center in my building, pretty self-explanatory. I run or do the elliptical or whatever, maybe a little bit of weights. But the kickboxing studio that I actually joined with my husband, and it's something I used to do. I used to do kickboxing when I was younger. I can't say whether or not I was particularly good at it, but I enjoyed it a lot, and I've been looking for a similar class ever since I was doing that. It's not Taibo, it's not any of that sort of stuff. It's actually kicking a bag, punching a bag, and the class is structured. They're hour-long classes, and they're structured to be a combination of kickboxing drills, where they'll give you a combo or some sort of kickboxing activity where you're punching and kicking the bag, and then core exercises, abdominal exercises, leg exercises interspersed in between the kickboxing. It's actually a lot of fun. It's really high energy, really customizable to the person. So they'll often give one form of the exercise and say if you want to take it up a notch or take it down a notch, and they'll give modifications that you can do to that. And that's also really nice because you can see as time goes on how you're able to do more of those modifications up, and that's really nice. Another question I get a lot is, what are my dietary restrictions? And based on the surgery itself, the only real restriction that I have is not to drink soda. And this was difficult for me. I actually was very much a soda fiend, specifically Coke Zero, prior to the surgery. And I have not had anything more than a tiny sip of soda since the surgery. I actually thought, it was Christmas time, maybe I'd try, because I won't go into necessarily my feelings about the soda restriction of doing it because my doctor told me to. But I thought, okay, well, it's been a year, I've lost a whole bunch of weight, maybe I'll just try a little bit of Coke Zero because I really missed it. It turns out the memory of Coke Zero is a lot greater than the actual taste of Coke Zero because I did not enjoy my experience at all. Took a couple tiny little sips and just bleh, bleh. So that's really the only restriction that comes with the surgery itself. There are restrictions that I have personally, or that I have imposed on myself. I'm lactose intolerant, so I eat less dairy, absolutely no ice cream, and generally less dairy. I also have cut gluten completely out of my diet. I've gone into that before, but I don't know if I'm gluten intolerant. I'm definitely not celiac, but I don't know that I'm gluten intolerant. However, no doctor has ever said to anyone in recent history, you know what you need? More refined carbohydrates. So cutting out gluten, I don't eat bread, or if I do, it's gluten replacement, which just quite frankly isn't as good, and you don't want to eat as much of it. And I don't eat fried foods, which that really helps. I think that has been a key thing, or just nope, no fried foods. That's all there is to it. I occasionally will eat a little bit of French fries, which I know are often fried in the same vat as something that would have had breading on it, but I'm not that strict about my gluten-free. I try to avoid things that have gluten ingredients, not that might possibly be contaminated with gluten. That's more important for somebody who is actually gluten intolerant, or especially somebody who's celiac really needs to be careful about that. But somebody who's just avoiding gluten, it's a little bit easier, but anyone who tells you that it's easy is crazy. So it's definitely not the easiest thing in the world to cut out gluten, but I do think it was the right choice for me. And there's other things that I don't eat or I don't do. Not eating Splenda, which I've talked about, is really, really difficult when you're drinking things without calories or looking for lower calorie options for things, because pretty much everything has Splenda or sucralose in it. So, but that's it really for dietary restrictions. Another question I've gotten is, how has the hair loss situation gone? And I'm kind of not showing it at its best right now because it's actually, I just got out of the shower right before I made this video, but actually it's slowed down and or stopped for the most part. I've definitely got some regrowth. I definitely feel like it hasn't gotten any thinner, and if anything, it's starting to get a little bit thicker. So I think that time has passed. I'm still, I'm hoping that it will get back to where it was, but I'm a lot calmer about it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I would like it to go back, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. I will survive. An interesting question I actually just got today was, is having a stomach bug better, worse, different since the surgery? And fortunately, I did not know the answer to that question until the last 48 hours or so. I got some kind of stomach bug or food poisoning, and was really, really quite sick. And the answer to that is, I don't think the bug itself is going to be as bad as it's going to be. However it's going to affect your system based on your immune system that day, how intense a dosage you get, whatever, determines how bad the bug's going to be. I do think the intake-related side effects were worse for me having had the surgery. And what I mean by that is the fact that I couldn't eat or drink anything, I couldn't keep anything down, meant that I felt like I had adverse reactions much faster. I felt like I got dehydrated really fast. I had, I got the headache from not having any electrolytes, not having any nutrients in my body much, much faster than I have had in the past when I've gotten some kind of stomach bug. So I do think that was a way in which having the surgery did negatively impact having a stomach flu, food poisoning type situation. Just because I'm cutting it so close to the edge as it is, of how many calories I take in, how much liquid I'm able to get in my body, that when I don't have a lot of backup. So I think I definitely, my husband even was kind of hugging me yesterday, trying to comfort me, and he said, "Wow, you feel really skinny." And even just within 24 hours, like my any plumpness sounds like a bad word, but since I'd lost so much liquid, I just kind of shriveled into this corpsey thing. It was not good. So yeah, that was gross, and I'm really, really, really happy to be beyond that. I've gotten lots of liquids in myself today, even a little bit of food, so yay! It feels very similar. I'm actually in the same hotel complex I was in last year at this time, and drinking vitamin water and Powerade and broth feels very, very familiar. And the last question that I get a lot is, any regrets? And obviously it's only been a year, and this is hopefully something that will be with me for the rest of my life, but so far I would say absolutely no regrets. I don't think I've for a moment regretted having this surgery. Even when I was really, really uncomfortable in the very beginning after I just had it, I did not regret it. I think it's been a very positive change for me. I think it's been it was what I needed. And while everybody needs to look at themselves individually, talk to their own doctors, if somebody asks me about the surgery, I do recommend it. I do recommend at the very least looking into whether or not it's possible for them. Because I think if you can make the decision that this is what you need to do, it can be the right thing for you. Obviously, it doesn't work for everybody, and that's not a reflection on them. That unfortunately goes back to luck and your surgeon and your personal situation and everything like that as to whether or not that there's a lot of factors at play, and some of it's in your control and some of it isn't. So it's not a guaranteed thing, but I do truly believe that if it's something you're thinking about, it's a risk worth taking. So I hope you're all having a great holiday. Bye-bye.